Good morning, everyone. We are going to be starting our final perspective project, and the title of it is called Life In. We'll be talking about what that means as we work into the project. I have some suggestions for you, but you can come up with your own. It is your choice on this project. The only thing is I need it to be in perspective, 1 or 2 point perspective, and I'll go over that with you when we're done with this. So life in, it could be a life in a jar, life in an apple, a light bulb, life in a glass. I was supposed to say glass, so I can change that. Life in a glass, a cat's brain, it could be an animal's brain, top of the world, coffee cup, leaf, underground, an aquarium, an anthill, a good book, a cloud, can of soda, inside of a tree, a drop of water. Those are all your choices. Now, anything that I didn't list is open, okay? You can make the anatomy of an animal or a person or inside a person's mind. It's your choice, okay? I want you to think about the environment and this sustainability of your object or place that you're making. So I will be going over that with you, with my project that I'm coming up with. So I'm going to be going over the musts with you, and then I'll be going over the choice. You must have areas of contrast. Contrast is something that is opposite of one another. So black and white. So I will be sharing with you with what my ideas of contrast is, and I'll be going back and forth with that. You must have at least 5 values. So you'll have 5 values of shading if you're using pencil. You might have to do some dark areas if you're using color pencil. You must have an object, such as one of these, okay? And at least 10 objects inside your subject or object, okay? So inside your good book, you have to have at least 10 things, and I'll be going over that. Or inside your underground world, you're going to have at least 10 things. And your items must be in 1 or 2 point perspective. Now, as far as your choice, you get to choose your medium. So you can use color pencil, you can use marker, you can use watercolor, you can paint if you want to, it's your choice. Your color palette, some of you are just going to use pencil, so that would be a monochromatic grayscale. But some of you might want to just add spot color, so you can do like one color, like the color red in it. So it's your choice. Scale. Scale means how big something is. So you can make things that are really, really big, that are really true to life or size, or you can make them small. It's your choice. You can choose your object, okay, and then 10 objects within your object, okay? So my example is life inside a mason jar. So I have a mason jar. This is something that I always drink out of. So I have water. When I ever have water, I fill it up. Even my coffee, I drink it out of a mason jar. So inside this mason jar, I'm going to have 10 things, and I listed them to give me, to help me brainstorm a little bit. So inside I'm going to be making a tree and have rocks and ants and some food for the ants to eat, which will be apples. I'm going to put a little teeny tiny bird in it. I'm going to have water in it, clouds, a birdhouse, a sailboat, and a fish. So I'm going to leave this right here. I'm just going to do a really quick sketch for you so you understand what I'm talking about, and then I'm going to go into this a little bit further. So I'm going to be drawing it out just to give me a good idea of what I would want to do with my mason jar. Okay, so I have my mason jar all drawn out. I also want to put this in perspective. So whatever I'm doing, I want it to be in perspective. So I'm just going to draw a very, very light horizon line, and I'm going to be putting my vanishing point back here. So anything that I have in here will be going towards that vanishing point. This is just to help me out. So actually the top of this lid, we're going to be seeing the underside of it. So instead of seeing the top, you're going to be seeing it going through. So you're actually going to see more of the outside of it. And I'm going to draw this in more detail later. So I'm going to draw a tree on the inside of this. I want there to be rocks on the inside. Okay, so I'll be drawing my tree. It might be coming out of my mason jar. I don't know. I don't think I want to keep it enclosed. So we have a tree growing in there. We have rocks. Okay. I am going to be putting a little tree house that is coming off of the limb. So I'm going to be putting that in perspective so that I need these lines to help me out with that. So there we go. I have a tree house in perspective right now, and it was really easy because I had these lines going to the vanishing point. Okay. All right. So then I have my little tree house. I'm going to have a little teeny tiny bird in here. Okay. So I have my tree, I have rocks, my tiny bird, my bird house. Ooh, I need to put my water in here so we can see through here, right? Okay, and then I'm going to put a little sailboat on here. So this is going to help me with the perspective. So I'm going to be seeing just a little bit of the top of my sailboat. Okay, and then I'll have a little fish in here swimming around. Okay, so I have my fish, my sailboat. Ooh, I wanted clouds in here. So I'm going to be making clouds. Put them in more detail when I get my final one going. So I have my clouds, my water. Ooh, I forgot to do an apple. So I'm going to be putting an apple, little teeny tiny apples in here. Okay, I'll put more over here. And then I'll probably put more leaves and such on here. So, oh, I didn't do my ants yet. So inside, maybe I'll make like a little ant house on the inside. So there's an ant that lives here. And then maybe I'll put something in here. So I have my ant. Maybe I'll put a few more ants in there. And then I have my apples. Okay, so I have 10 objects inside my mason jar. Now I'm ready to go with my final piece that I would want to. If you just want to make yours a mason jar, that's your choice. Okay, you get to choose if you want it to be a mason jar, but it's your choice if you want to make it something else. So I will be finalizing this project, and then when I'm working on it, I will explain it a little bit further. And then if you have any questions about it, you just need to email me and I will get back to you. Okay? All right, while you were working on your project, I think it would be helpful to you if you look up references. So I have a mason jar here. If you don't have something like that, and you want to draw the inside of something, you want to make sure that you have a reference so it helps you out a little bit. So I'm going to be drawing my mason jar right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my horizon line, okay, my vanishing point, kind of give me an idea of how large I'm going to go. So I'm going to be drawing my ellipse that I have. And then on top, in itself, there is a cylinder, but we can see inside the cylinder. All right, I'm going to bring it down a little ways. And one thing that I like to do when I'm drawing something symmetrical, such as a vase or an animal that is really symmetrical, I like to draw a line to help me out, so I know that I'm drawing the same on both sides. Okay. I probably won't write this stuff on here. All right. All right, so I'm remembering that I have to have everything going to that vanishing point, and making sure that anything down here I can see the top of, anything up here I'm going to see the bottom of it because of the way I'm looking at it. Making that a little bit lighter. Making this a little darker and this a little lighter, so it looks like that. Now, if you're drawing something that is glass, you want to draw in some of those shapes that you're going to see on your glass. Okay. All right. Okay. So now that I have the basic outline of my mason jar, my suggestion is to go find a photo of a tree that you like, or a tree or an object that you are going to be drawing. So I would find a tree and start drawing it. Here's the base of the tree, and then we can see the underside parts of the tree. And then I had mine growing out. You don't have to. It's really close. Okay. And then I'm going to have rocks here. And then I'm going to have roots. So we're going to be able to see inside the tree because it's glass. And whenever you have something that is in a glass jar, or it's in something clear, and then you have a plant growing out of it, typically you can see roots. So I'm going to be drawing roots. I'm also going to have some water that takes the shape of my mason jar. So I'm going to bring it down. And we're going to be able to see that. We're going to be able to see that because the water is in it. Now, if you need to put some water into something so you can see it, you can. But you can also just mimic what is happening on the outside of the jar, and that typically helps. Okay, all right, and then we have our little house that's going to be in perspective right here, right? Like we talked about before. And then we have our sailboat. Okay, and if you need to, find something that will help you with the perspective part. We're gonna have our clouds that are inside the jar. Okay. We have our little fish. Okay. We have our little ant. ant house that is happening down here. So I'll make a little hole. I'm gonna have my little ants down here. Okay, so there's another environment within the environment. I'll put my little bird right here. Whoa. Okay. Then this is going to be an apple tree because I have apples for the birds and the ant to eat. Maybe even the fish down here. Maybe we can make like a little apple core down here because the fish is eating some of the apples that drop. So let's see, we have water, tiny bird. Okay, I think I have everything in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start rendering this. And something that you can think about when you're done drawing it is the outside. So on the inside, you can create like this happy little scene if you like, and then the outside you could draw something else, maybe contrasting. Maybe this side or this part can be all colorful and the outside could be gray in a grayscale. It's your choice. Like you can contrast it that way if you want to. I'm going to fill this up with shading and rendering, and then I'm going to speed up the video so you're not just having to sit and watch me draw for a while. And then when I'm done, I will talk to you a little bit more about the musts and choice of the project, and just to reiterate what I've said before. Okay? So within my tree house, I have my tree house, bird, apples, tree, clouds, fish, rocks, ant, and sailboat. And I shaded it at least with 5 different values. It is all in 1-point perspective, and it has at least 5 different shades. Wherever there is dark against lightness, there's contrast. So you'll see I went really, really dark here and light here. Really, really dark ant against sort of a light background. There's contrast where the rocks are. There's contrast where the birdhouse is. So I made at least 5 different values and I added contrast. Go really, really dark with your pencil in some areas. It makes it look great. Have a great time with this project, and I look forward to seeing what you guys come up with. Email me if you have any questions.